I love Conan O'Brien. I think he did a great job 2 years in a row hosting the Oscars. I think he's going to be back next year. He's got some thoughts about the industry. We've done a lot of stories about the collapse of Hollywood, and here he is on a podcast. I'm gonna cue this up, Alan. You might hear a sec here. I'm gonna cue this up on the State of the Business podcast. He had some thoughts, and we're gonna comment on them here.
We don't know. I have a question for you that you can answer.
Yeah.
All I know is that so many people I know aren't working. So many of the
Right.
writers we know, it's very hard to get work now. Yet I go home and all I see are thousands of new streaming shows. There's never been more product available to people, but my sense is that a lot of people aren't working. What's happening?
I think a lot of them are made overseas. A lot of them. And I'm not saying it's the entire issue, but I think a lot of them are made overseas.
But what about, so that means that writers
don't write them. U.S. writers don't write. Of course, writers write them, but U.S. writers don't write them.
Wow.
American writers.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy because that is the puzzling part is I go home and Liza and I are just flipping through. I mean, every time you turn on one of these streamers, they've got
You need
seven
you need
more
subtitles.
7 more shows. Yeah. You need subtitles, but there's so much product and then you wonder, well, gee, that's good.
I don't think it's the whole problem. I think things got really expensive and out of control, and in this country, in this town of all places.
We had a moment on the Oscars that was really said a lot to me, which is we had an idea for the Oscars where I'm backstage and I just had this image flash. Sometimes things just come to me as an image, and one image was when I'm coming back, when they're bumping in from commercial to come back to me, I'll be backstage and it'll be I'm rolling on the floor with 9 golden retrievers. I'm rolling on the floor with nine golden retrievers, and the band's playing, and then you hear, "Ladies and gentlemen, once again, your host Conan O'Brien," and I leap up, and a team of a whole bunch of people with giant, lint brushes roll me really quickly, and I step out on stage and go, "Hi, everybody! Cinematography." And it was just this quick, silly visual that I loved. And it's really interesting. One of the producers said, "Okay, this is going to be incredibly expensive."
I know.
And I said, remember. "Really? Just getting a couple of golden retrievers?" And she said, "Well, the rule is each dog has to be acclimated with the other dog. So they all have to live together for like 2 weeks before they can come on, before they can be on camera together. Yeah. And if they're living together, all their handlers have to live with them too."
Oh my God.
And she was going through all the things and how the cost got up to, I think it was going to cost as much as like baseline sticker price for like a Porsche.
It was like $30,000.
I think it was more than that.
Maybe.
I think it was more than 30. But it was not a Porsche, but a really good high end.
And then I think somebody said, then somebody said, "What about puppies?" And they went, "More expensive."
Yeah, puppies are more expensive. And basically it's all this stuff that gets built in over time, these different rules. And I realized in that moment, we used to do things in the 90s. We used to get away with murder because we would think of an idea at 4:30, a really weird idea, and we would throw it out on the air. And then a lot of time goes by, and I think rules change and things.
I also think in the Oscars, especially when people hear Oscars, the price goes up.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But I in that moment with the golden retrievers, I thought, this is a concrete example of something that's happening that's making me think, I see why people go to Budapest to shoot something.
Right.
And I've heard that a lot of, we used for over a decade, for 11 years, we were on Warner Brothers and it was, humming that things are quieter in some of these lots than they used to be.
When we left, they were building new stages, I believe.
Yeah.
And everything was packed. And I hear now that's like half empty. I don't know that.
Can I say one thing?
I don't know that it's true.
I will say that happens whenever Conan O'Brien leaves a place.
Makes sense.
NBC pretty much called.
Oh my God. That's pretty much the crux of that clip. But Alan, what are your thoughts on this?
No, he
stated very well, especially that last part about the dogs. The idea that rules just get added. Regulations get added, more regulations, a new fee here and there, to the point now we're at critical mass and nobody can afford to produce in Los Angeles anymore. But I have to counter that. I've got this tweet here from
please share it.
Yeah, hold on. Here we go. I got a tweet from Gavin Newsom's press office, basically saying, "Did you know California's production industry is 10 times larger than Georgia's and twice the size of New York?" I think what Gavin Newsom here is pointing out is the fallacy that no one's working. In fact, if you're not working, or if you're saying you're not working here in Hollywood, you're lying, because you are working, because the governor said so. So stop the gaslighting. Stop telling us you're out of work, you can't afford to pay for your home and your food and feed your kids, and that you want to move out of state or get a new job working at Home Depot or DoorDash, because the governor says you are working. And so therefore, just shut up and get the job done. Thanks, Gavin. Yeah.
Well, did you troll him when you saw that?
I don't know. I've heard
you often troll him.
I've heard stories of people who troll him, and it doesn't turn out so well. Maybe an audit comes down the road.
I troll him. I don't really read comments on X anymore.
Well, he's almost out of office, so when he runs for president, we'll see.
All right, we'll see. In a related story, movie producers speak on industry fears. Let's take a look at this clip here.
Is that the right one, Clip?
Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
What scares you guys most about the business of making movies?
Yeah, we'll lose more studios. That's what scares us more.
That scares you?
Of course. The consolidation hurts. But if they make the 30 movies, that's great. But look, we lost one studio, we picked up Amazon. So there's always somebody else that comes in. There's A24 now. That's making a lot of films. So if there's people that want to go see movies and want to fill the theaters, an exhibitor will pop up to fill that void if they're not making enough. If we get back to the habit of there's an interesting movie you want to see every single weekend, the audience will be there.
What scares you?
I think my greatest fear is disruption for disruption's sake. And when I look at what's happened over the last few years, I have not seen a great deal of logic in the decisions that have been made.
Well, the logic is they want to build a streaming service because that's what these companies traded on Wall Street. But they didn't trade on their opening weekends.
But follow it through. Like, where are we now? Our business is kind of a mess in a way that it hasn't been. And I think that's because the profit motive and the investment in the theatrical business has sort of exited the picture. And I think that sort of disruption, well, there's so many things wrong with the corporate world at the moment in terms of, the decisions that are being made that benefit a small number of people and nobody else.
You can say David Zaslav. It's okay.
I'm trying to be diplomatic here. And I just think that we've got to get back to taking the longer term view, investing in the infrastructure of our business and being realistic about the ways that, it's a risky business. Sometimes movies work, sometimes they don't. But the only way we're actually going to continue to be able to make movies that have the best chance that they can have is to keep that pipeline going, to keep putting movies in theaters, and to be rigorous about making sure that we are giving them the best chance that they can, whether it be through windows or spending money on marketing, et cetera, et cetera.
And I know you're very happy at Universal, but has Warner's done the types of things that you want to see them doing? They've committed to theatrical. They are not doing the day and date stuff. They have made a number of overtures to you. So you're okay with Warner's these days?
Well, let's see. This is from a panel at CinemaCon with Matt Belloni, Jerry Bruckheimer, and I don't know who that woman is.
And a lady and a dude.
Yeah, well, there we go. We'll finish. There's a little bit more here, but we'll finish this up in comment.
I love what Warner Brothers is doing. I mean, you cannot look at what they did last year and argue that they're doing a bad job. They're doing a great job. And the truth is, going back to the conversation about, where our films are, they are the custodians of many of the films that we've made. We have a great relationship with them. We have ongoing work with.
That's Chris Nolan's wife, I believe.
Oh, okay.
She produces all his films. Sorry.
Okay.
Them on that, and
important.
I think that they're doing a great job, and they are fully invested in theatrical, which makes me very happy with them.
By the way, she used to work at Slam Dance. She screened films, and I believe that's how they met. Because Chris Nolan had a movie. His first feature following was at Slam Dance. Anyways, small world. There you go.
Sorry, that was Sunday.
Did you just announce an Inception sequel?
I wouldn't dare.
Okay. All right.
There we go. That's the crux of it. Alan, we have more and more. We're not going to share anymore. That's it.
Yeah.
Of so many clips of people now in the industry actually talking about. Here's Conan O'Brien. He wants to do a simple bit on the Oscars with golden retrievers, and it ends up being this incredibly costly thing that's not in the budget. And it's really, I think more and more production will flee California for outside, not just California, outside the US. It's prohibitively expensive. They've over-regulated. They've got too many rules. The rules on those golden retrievers, I get that they're logical, but just go to, Bulgaria and shoot it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Wasn't it, I think on the Nooner on Wednesday, James mentioned, they needed the gaffer to press a button, but that was not his job. So they had to hire someone.
To press a button. It was literally, there was Jim Agnew on the Nooner. There's a great clip on that. But I really think unless there is some incredibly dramatic
common sense changes made,
180-degree pushback against not just some of these rules, but also when Conan was talking about that, we came up with a dumb idea at 4:30. We did the show's live. We just did it. Attack of the Show, my experience doing live TV, there'd be a crazy idea. They were talking about it in the room at 1 p.m. at the read through of the script. They'd go and shoot at a couple hours later at 4:00. The show was done. That was it. They weren't these insane, crazy rules that make it impossible. So I just think I don't see it getting better. There aren't people in leadership saying, there's not a think tank of people saying we've got to do it this way. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to get more and more, production exiting California and outside. Movies that are less American, that's for sure. And you're going to get smaller indies like a Sean Baker, who's now working with Warner Brothers at Clockwork, their new label, because he does very low budget indie movies, and they're very successful. Mm. So good on him. He's figured it out. But the rest of Hollywood, they're in trouble.